Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a forgotten military giant from ancient India. We're talking about a superpower that was born from a land of rivers, whose influence stretched right across the subcontinent, and whose reputation alone was enough to stop one of history's greatest conquerors dead in his tracks.
It's one of the great what-ifs in all of ancient history. You've got Alexander the Great, right? He's undefeated, he's carved a path from Greece all the way to India, and then he just stops and turns back. So what happened? Well, it wasn't a battle. It wasn't a defeat. It was the fear of what was coming next, the reputation of a kingdom that lay just ahead, a kingdom based in ancient Bengal.
And look, this wasn't just some rumor floating around the campfire. This quote comes to us from the Greek historian Diodorus Siculus. Now, he was writing a bit later, but he was using accounts from the time. The whole ancient world knew about the power brewing in the Ganges Delta. Their strength wasn't a secret. It was a warning.
So what was this force that had everyone so spooked? It was this number, 6,000 war elephants. That's how many were reportedly waiting for Alexander's army. Now, to give you some perspective, his troops, who were some of the toughest soldiers in history, had just barely survived a fight against 200 elephants under a king named Porus. The idea of facing 30 times that number? No way. It was completely unthinkable.
So let's talk about this kingdom that could inspire that kind of fear. The Greek and Roman writers called them the Gangaradai, which basically means the people of the Ganges. And their power wasn't just about having a huge army. It was about something much smarter, a masterful use of strategic deterrence.
Yeah, it really was a perfect storm of factors. First, you've got their location, the fertile, river-choked delta of Bengal. It's basically a natural fortress. Then, they were known to be incredibly wealthy, and they were allied with the massive Nanda Empire right next door. But the trump card, the thing that really broke the Macedonian spirit, was that elephant corps. For those exhausted soldiers, the psychological impact was just too much. They effectively mutinied, and Alexander had no choice but to turn back.
But here's the thing. The strength of the Gangaradai and the kingdoms that came after them wasn't just about elephants. The very geography that made them so hard to invade also gave birth to two unique and incredibly powerful military traditions. And these would define Bengal for over 1,000 years.
These were the twin pillars of Bengali power. On land, you had the war elephants. You can think of them as the biological tanks of the ancient world, just pure shock and awe on four legs. But in a land crisscrossed by countless rivers, a powerful navy was absolutely essential. It wasn't just for fighting either. It controlled trade, it moved troops and supplies with incredible speed. They were true masters of both land and water.
And we're not talking about simple rafts here. The shipbuilding in Bengal was incredibly advanced. They used specialized local woods that were super durable, and the ships themselves were works of art. Symbols of power. Their prows were carved into these amazing animal shapes, like the elegant swan-shaped Hansabata, and decked out with gold and ivory. Their best ships even had their own names, turning them into legends on the water.
So, for centuries, Bengal's power was mostly defensive. It was this unconquerable fortress. But then, in the 6th century AD, one man came along who decided to turn that fortress into a launching pad for an empire. His name was Shashanka.
Shashanka was a brilliant and, frankly, ruthless strategist. First, he united all the little warring clans in Bengal under his rule. Then, he made alliances and went on the attack, striking at the heart of North Indian power. His boldest move was assassinating his main rival, which completely paralyzed the enemy alliance. This one move allowed him to hold off attacks for decades from one of India's most famous emperors, Harshavardhana, and really put Bengal on the map as a major player.
But as you can probably guess, after a larger-than-life ruler like Shashanka dies, things can fall apart. And they did. His unified kingdom shattered, and without a strong leader, Bengal fell into a century of chaos. It was a dark time, and it has a very, very telling name.
The period was called Matsyanyaya, the law of the fishes. It's such a powerful metaphor, isn't it? It means a time with no rules, where the strong just devour the weak. Think about it. Big fish eat little fish. That was the only law. Warlords fought each other, invaders raided whenever they wanted. It was a total breakdown of society.
So, how do you possibly fix a crisis like that? Well, the chieftains of Bengal came up with a really remarkable solution. Instead of just fighting it out forever, they did something kind of modern. They held an election. They chose a respected warrior named Gopala to be their king, giving him the power to fix things. And with that single act, they founded the Pala dynasty, which would bring about Bengal's golden age.
And boy did they fix things. The Pala military machine was reborn, and it was stronger than ever. So strong, in fact, that they were ready to enter the biggest conflict of their time, the tripartite struggle, a massive war for control of the entire subcontinent.
So, for almost 200 years, the subcontinent was basically a three-way tug-of-war. You had three superpowers, all fighting for control of Kannauj, which was like the symbolic capital of northern India. The Polish from Bengal didn't just show up to this fight. At their peak, they actually dominated it.
It was this amazing progression. Gopala, the first king, laid the foundation. He's the one who ended the anarchy. Then his son, Dharmapala, took that power and went on offense, actually capturing the great city of Kannauj. But it was his successor, Devapala, who really took the empire to its absolute peak, leading campaigns from the Himalayas all the way down to central India.
And the peak of all this achievement can be summed up in a single awesome title, Uttara Pataswami. It means Lord of the Northern Path, and Dharmapala earned it. This was the ultimate prize, the championship belt of ancient India. And for the very first time in history, a king from Bengal was recognized as the top dog, the supreme overlord of northern India. It's a feat that was only possible because of that unique military power born right there in the delta.
So from the Gangara days elephants that scared off Alexander the Great to the Pala Navy that dominated the rivers, Bengal's military story was written by its geography. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other forgotten histories, what other unseen superpowers out there have been shaped not just by great leaders, but by the very land they called home?